Hello, and welcome back to BioCurrent, the podcast where biology flows in real time. I'm your host, Dalton Sizemore, and today we're talking about playing God. Well, not really, but pretty close. We're going to dive into the world of synthetic biology, where scientists are literally building life from scratch. DNA Legos, test tube organisms, glow in the dark plants. It's real, it's happening, and it's really cool. So what is synthetic biology anyway? It's like biology kind of met engineering at a bar one night and then went on to have a baby. Instead of just studying what life does, synthetic biologists asked, how can we design it? They reprogram cells like they're tiny little computers. Swap in a gene here, take out one there, maybe slap in a little jellyfish DNA, and boom, you've got a plant that glows. I mean, why not? But the key question is, why? Imagine that cells are the old fixer-upper houses on a renovation show of the life sciences, and the synthetic biologists are those quirky designers with big dreams. You want yeast that make vanilla flavoring instead of beer? Done. Bacteria that eat plastics? Already in the works. What about crops that fertilize themselves? Heck yeah! It's all about redesigning biological systems to do things nature never intended, but in ways that help us solve real-world problems. We even have companies designing synthetic organisms to clean polluted soil or detect toxins in water. It's like giving cells a new set of jobs to follow, and they actually do it. But before you panic, not too many of these biologists are working on recreating past species, like dinosaurs in an abandoned amusement parks. Thanks to Steven Spielberg, that's not great PR for synthetic biology. What they're more in the realms of doing is biofuels, medicines, and food. One of the most notable examples of synthetic biology progress and action is lab-grown meat. Burger patties that never moved. Synthetic biology companies are growing real meat without the cow. It's the same meat, same taste, but no pasture and no guilt. And that's expanding too. Think about leathers made without animals, coffee made without coffee beans, and even milk without cows. It kind of sounds like a hipster's fever dream, but it's all real and it's all happening now. So I'm going to geek out for a little bit. To build life, synthetic biologists use tools like CRISPR, the famous gene editing technology that you can think of as like a copy-paste system. It works kind of like molecular scissors to snip a piece of DNA with pinpoint precision and allow scientists to add, remove, or even rewrite genes like editing a Word doc. But instead of fixing a typo, they could be making a change that could cure someone's cancer. There's even DNA synthesis. Basically, you can order genes online. Seriously, kind of like an Amazon Prime, but for life instructions. Need a cell that glows red? Click here. Shipped overnight in a little tube of magic. And all of this made possible by standardization. Biologists kind of used to be like jazz musicians, improving all the time. Now, they're like engineers with blueprints. That means faster, more reliable, and way cooler biological creation. And that brings us to one of my favorite things. Believe it or not, synthetic biology is happening not only in industrial lab settings, but also in garages and community labs. There's a growing biohacker community making cool stuff outside of traditional academia. From fluorescent yeast to custom-designed cheese-making bacteria with flair, these folks are pushing the envelope on what's possible. It's kind of like a little bit of punk rock, a little bit of science fair, and a lot exciting. But it does raise questions, though. Who should have access to this technology, and how do we make sure it's safe? Synthetic biology isn't just a nerdy hope for white coated scientists in a lab. It could literally change everything. It could make producing insulin cheaper and more safe, or build microbes that clean up oil spills, or create vaccines faster than ever. One of the most controversial topics around synthetic biology in the last few years was the invention of mRNA vaccines and their rapid development and use during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, no matter what side of the aisle you're on when it comes to the vaccine and the data associated with it, the work behind it was truly amazing, and it was engineered by synthetic biologists. What about protecting and preserving the climate? Again, no matter how you feel on the political spectrum about climate change, everyone can agree that we want clean air and clean water now and for years to come. Synthetic biologists are working to bring up solutions so that algae can intake more carbon dioxide like little green Pac-Man. They're engineering trees that grow faster so that they can store more carbon. They're making plants and microbes that can remediate toxic spills and making microbes that can eat the vast amount of plastics that we see in our oceans and other environments. We're also seeing synthetic biologists help agriculture through nitrogen-fixing crops, drought-resistant plants, and even biological pest control that targets pests without harming bees. It's like nature's precision tool, but upgraded to the nth degree. So, if you're like me, I'm sure you're saying, well, this all sounds great, but should we be doing this? Well, that's a great question. Ethical debates are always part of implementing scientific findings into society and the world as a whole. Who gets to design life? What happens if something goes wrong? Could biohackers cause a problem? How do we make sure this helps everyone and doesn't cause harm in the long run? What about de-extinction? There are folks seriously trying to bring back the woolly mammoth using synthetic biology. Is that restoring nature, or is it just showing off? Is it worth it, or is it too dangerous to do? As with everything in life, there's always a legal aspect as well. In synthetic biology, there are concerns about patents and ownership. If a team of synthetic biologists take time to build a gene sequence, do they own that very piece of life? These are the big, chewy, moral and ethical questions synthetic biology throws into the laps of scientific ethicists, lawmakers, and the public at large. These are the things that we need to be having large conversations about, but we need to do it quickly. The future's coming fast, and there's nothing we can do to slow it down. The more we understand what the needs will be and understand the science and technology we have and can have, the better choices we can make for the future of our planet and those who will inhabit it. So we've talked about some of the large examples of synthetic biology, talked about what it could do, and even talked about how we need to talk about the best ways to put it in use. But what are some areas where we already have synthetic biology in our day-to-day lives and just don't realize it? Well, first is cleaning products. Most notably, you'll see them in things like laundry detergents that use enzymes designed and grown by synthetic biologists to clean better at lower temperatures. You'll also see enzymes in sprays that help remove pee stains and smells where the new puppy left his mark on grandma's old rug. Finally, you'll see it in dishwashing soaps and detergents. You know, those that magically get rid of food buildup with just a spray or just by sticking it in the dishwasher. You can thank synthetic biologists for all of that. Another area where you can see synthetic biology already in practice is in the drinks that you consume. If you're someone who drinks diet soda or uses artificial sweeteners in the morning, there's a high likelihood that those sweeteners that you're consuming were made using yeast that were synthetically engineered. Synthetic biology is also in the cosmetics industry. Some fragrances, like rose oil, can be very difficult and very costly to make. So, synthetic biologists have inserted the genes to make the oil, rose oil, into microbes that produce steady amounts to go into cosmetic products. Medications, vitamins, flavors, colorings, they're all being made from organisms where synthetic biologists have used the base element of life, the cell, to create things that we need or want better than the normal biological or chemical processes that we've used in the past. One of the cooler areas that's being explored in synthetic biology is the development of biosensors. These can detect everything from contaminated foods to high levels of pollution in the air. Using biosensors in the future, your smart fridge may be able to tell you when your milk is getting ready to go bad. All of this is just to say that synthetic biology isn't some science fiction subject that's years from being relevant. It's happening and it's relevant now. So let's bring it all home. Synthetic biology is like nature's remix. It lets us take the basic code of life and reimagine it in creative, useful, and sometimes weird ways. It's not magic, it's science. But all science kind of feels like a little magic, doesn't it? We're at the beginning of something new and big, the next bio-revolution. With the right mix of curiosity, caution, and creativity, synthetic biology could help us tackle some of the biggest challenges of our time. If you liked this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and maybe tell your smartest friends or your most confused uncle. I'm Dalton Sizemore, and this was BioCurrent. See you next time.